What is something an ex gave you that you still have? Story 1. She sewed a sweater for my childhood teddy bear because the one he originally had was lost in the laundry, and there is no way I would ever get rid of that. Story 2. My ex-wife was a big part of me getting off drugs and alcohol, so to me she gave me sobriety. Story 3. The dress she was wearing when I met her. We dated for 3 years, and when we broke up, I was heartbroken further to see that, in the bag of clothes she was going to donate, was that dress. She looked radiant in it that day, and I wasn't entirely ready to let go. Unbeknownst to her, I took the dress from the bag and hid it away as a memento. We stopped talking for 3 years. There were instances in the early stages of grief where I would look at it and cry, but I wanted to remember her for the good in her. Fast forward to a couple years ago, and she reaches out to apologize. By then, I was obviously long over her. It was a clean and honest breakup, so I told her there was nothing to apologize for. We hang out at my place one day, and I revealed to her that I kept the dress. The look of surprise on her face, man, and she almost began crying as she hugged me. Later that day, she told me that she told her cousin about how I kept the dress. This particular cousin didn't like me, so when my ex said she awed at it and said that I was a sweet guy, that felt nice. She, my ex, and I send each other memes every now and then. I love this girl to death, platonically, and would fight tooth and nail for her safety and well-being. She deserves to live a good life. Cheers to the folks who ended things on good terms, and an extra beer to those who couldn't. Story 4. I'm not on fond terms with my ex, but she bought me an Arctic seal plushie from the New England Aquarium back when we were in middle school. We dated throughout middle school, early high school. I named him Seal Phantomive, props if you get the pun, and he became something of a comfort item to me even after we broke up. I still have him to this day. Story 5. A really beautiful wooden topographical map of a lake near my hometown. I love maps, it fits my decor style perfectly. Plus, he only visited my hometown like 3 times in the 2 years we were together, so it reminds me of home more than anything. Story 6. My mattress. His was brand new and way better than mine, so we scrapped it. When he cheated and I kicked his ass out, he let me keep it. I mean, he definitely sucks, but I got a bomb-ass mattress upgrade and paid nothing. Story 7. Low self-esteem. Story 8. A crunchy mug for an Easter egg, still my daily mug over 15 years later. Story 9. Wedding ring. I had it resize and wear it on my right pinky. Not to remind me of the marriage, but to remind me not to let anyone change who I am. Also, 3 amazing kids, and an aversion to men that self-medicate. Story 10. Directions on how to make her sim. Sadly, directions are non-transferable to other women. Story 11. A bitter, cynical, pessimistic attitude. Story 12. Motivation. Went to Maryland to visit her and meet her family. She had moved back about a month prior due to some issues where she wasn't doing so great in college in TN where we met, likely because it was her first time away from her pretty strict and quite religious family. A bit too much partying and not enough studying, but nothing too bad. Her folks lived in Annapolis, rather close to the Naval Academy. They would often sponsor cadets and sometimes open their home to them if they needed a place to stay to whatever reason, like getting the cadet to town a few weeks before their housing was ready and getting them a place to stay near the academy to help them acclimate a bit. I dunno. During my visit, I came to learn she cheated on me with one of their sponsored cadets and a few other guys, and that was the last straw. I was done. She drove me to the airport and during our drive proceeded to berate me for a litany of issues that she pulled out of thin air. That I was a bad person, I wouldn't amount to shit. She was never happy me, blah blah blah. In retrospect, I think she was trying to just make herself feel better about how fucked up her own life had been in recent months, but in the moment it hurt. A lot. To that point in my life, I had made some not so great choices, but my trajectory was on the upswing. I was going from being involved with a pretty bad crowd, doing lots of drugs and failing out of college in my very first semester to getting my associates, changing my friend group and figuring out what I wanted in life. But none of that mattered to her. I was still a piece of crap. I didn't say a single word the entire ride, just sat there taking in the hate she was spewing. We pulled up to the airport and I opened the door and she was furious, obviously, because I was somehow stoic throughout her entire tirade. She angrily asked, "Well, aren't you going to say anything?" My reply was simple: "Thank you. I'm going to use everything you've said, true or not, to be a better person." Grabbed my bag, shut the door, and headed off. So I took her venom, turned it into fuel, and never looked back. Now I'm happily married, great career and friends, and have more stamps on my passport than I could ever imagine. Thanks, you cold-hearted bitch. Story 13. Literal PTSD. It causes issues in my relationship 7 years later. Funny times. Story 14. The nagging feeling that I could never be anything without her. Story 15. A cuddliness teddy, a necklace, and a beautiful glass ornament. We both messed up and unfortunately are no longer friends, but I treasure the good memories and am fond of the reminders of our friendship. Story 16. PTSD, anxiety, anger, debilitating trust issues with Eve, a mountain of debt I'll never get fixed, and a tiny little kernel of hate for him and those associated with him. Story 17. The inability to make a romantic connection with anyone new, also a cool watch. Story 18. A pillowcase she quilted for me. That was 40 years ago, and I still have it. Story 19. Still have a great wallet from 14 years ago. That my ex gave me. Probably the only thoughtful thing she ever did. Story 20. Photo frame of me with my dad. Lost my hero 7 months ago. It was thoughtful of her 6 years back. Story 21. In 1972, a boy gave me a St. Christopher necklace. I did not know it at the time, but later found out that it meant we are going steady. We were a couple for a few months until he tried to kiss me. I got scared and broke up with him. I tried giving him the necklace back, but he insisted I keep it. I still have it. It's traveled all over with me, and it's kept me safe. Thanks, James. I will always remember you. Story 22. Weirdly enough, academic confidence. She's the one that pushed me to go back to college after I dropped out, and now that I think about it, that might have been one of the last conversations we had. The told her was for telling me to stop fucking around and apply myself because she knew I was intelligent enough, but I was lazy. I graduated twice since then. Story 23. His childhood teddy bear. Now what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I can't throw it away because that's someone's childhood, but damn, I don't want it because that's weird. Haven't spoken to him in years and we didn't end on good terms, lol. Story 24. AIDS. Story 25. Sex. She gave it to me, but I still have it. With another woman. Story 26. Thoughts about how I really wanted things to be. Seeing her in different women and running at the first thing I see. It's all bad. But hey, no matter anyway. Story 27. Extreme paranoia of being gaslit by the opposite sex. Story 28. A beautiful guitar I never learned to play. I gave it to my son and he's keeping the tradition alive. By not learning either. Story 29. My vegetarian ex gave me a sous vide for Christmas, then revealed to me that she believes vaccines cause autism along with her entire family. Cooking meat with that thing is almost therapeutic. Story 30. Healthy eating habits and a passion for running and biking. Yeah, she was great. Story 31. I don't have any physical mementos, but he always chastised me for saying huh when I didn't hear what someone said. 12 years later, I still say pardon or I'm sorry. I sound ridiculously formal. Story 32. Confidence. I took it from him though. After we broke up, I realized that if he could be so confident without half of the base to stand on as I have, then I damn sure can be too. This is a good note to end on. Please write your stories in the comments. I'll be happy to add them to future videos. Also, you can rate our other videos. We would be very grateful. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.